Testing 1, 2. Can you hear me? 'Cause I can't hear myself. Whoever's there, can you hear me? Testing. Put a 1 in the chat if you could hear me. Oh, thank you. Okay, you can hear me. I just want to apologize to you guys. Um, I had to get an update. They had to update my, excuse me. They had to actually, Spectrum came out. They just left. They had to update the hardware for the internet. They actually had to go in the wall, and they had to redo some stuff in the wall out on the outside, and they had to update my modem. They said I had an old modem, so that was the problem. You said you on lunch? It's lunchtime? Okay. That's all I wanted to let you know, is that there was technical difficulties. Please hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. And we were at chapter 15, where Pamela didn't want to get married until laws came through that a wife wouldn't have to give all of her riches over to her husband. And a few people said that they think Peter is only into Angela because supposedly for money. But I think he was, it's my opinion, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I think that he was in love with her since she was a little girl, and he just didn't want to, toy with a young woman. But Pamela also said she was in love with Peter. Hey, Death Reaper, I appreciate you stopping through. So I want y'all to tell me what y'all think. Do you think that Peter's in it for the money, or for the love, or they had to fix the walls? No, they had to fix the actual hardware in the walls because it was outdated. So they had to do like an upgrade in the walls of the hardware. And then the modem was outdated. So they had to, they switched out the modem. And then they had to go outside and do some hardware. They had to go outside and fix the hardware outside too, leading, I guess, into the house, because it needed to be updated. Yeah, that's what it was, Mike Love. They ain't have to fix the walls. They had to give me new hardware because it wasn't doing right, and it was shutting down. It would just shut down the Wi-Fi. The internet would just shut down. Yeah, you know, now women go get something done to their vaginas to make them like a virgin again. So I guess that's what they did to the cable, to the internet. Death Reaper, you still there? Or you gone on me? You left. Hey Jay Tillman. No. Thank you for coming in, Jay Tillman. I appreciate you. Oh, you can't hear me? Hold on, let me turn my volume up. Thank you for telling me that. Mike Love didn't tell me anything. What about now? How do I sound now? Is it better? Is it still low? Is it still low, Jay Tillman? Or is that better? I just turned it up. How about now? Can you hear me? How about now? Yeah, we live. I'm gonna be I'm gonna be live more often. I was just telling them they had to repair the hardware. Let me know how the sound is. Let me see. Uh, Testing 1 2 1 2. Let me introduce myself. Is it still low? It's still low, good people. Let me see. Let me turn it up. Um, how about now? Is that better? Because one time it was too loud. Am I still very low? Okay, hold on. I got it. I see what I'm doing. I'm still learning. I'm sorry, y'all. I apologize for the inconvenience. How about that? Is that better? Is that better? Let me know, high or low. How do I sound now? Can anybody tell me if it's low or high? High or low? There you go, telling me no again. There you go. There you go. I wanna be more than just your friend. Y'all don't know nothing about that. I can't wait until karaoke night. It's too high. I can't wait until karaoke night so I could. Is it too high? Do I need to turn it down a little bit? How about now? Is that better or that's too low? Is that too low? Well, go on with your sarcasm now. If I'm too loud on Cree Cree Show, turn your phone down. Not unless you infatuated with the way I sound. Is it too low? Okay. Let me know when it's to your liking. Is this better? Wolfpack, is this better? Does this suit you? Now it's too low. What about now? Go back up to the tip. How about now, Mike Love? That's good right there. Do y'all want me? Okay, I won't touch it anymore. I had pulled it apart because I was putting up the stuff on my wall. There's a delay. Is there a delay, Mike Love? I pulled everything apart because I wiped my desk down and I was trying to get my background straightened up. Yeah, my response is like 20 seconds after we send it. Okay, you know why? Because I can't see I can't see the chat here on OBS. I'm looking at the chat actually on my iPhone. I appreciate y'all supporting me. I really do. I have some, well, our next book and our next day read is going to be the 48 Laws of Power. And then I'm going to do like the steamy, stormy story at night. How do y'all feel about that? Say 2 after I see 1. Okay. No, put a 1 in the chat so I could see, so you could time the delay for me, okay? It shouldn't be 1. They just, okay. 2. 2. It shouldn't be no delay after they came in and did all them upgrades that we had to pay for. We had to pay for them to come out and do upgrades on their equipment. I'm not mad though. I didn't have to pay my money. 15 seconds. Put a 1 in the chat, then Jay Tillman. 20 seconds. Put a 1 in the chat. Let's see. Put a 1 in the chat. And I'm going to tell you when I see 1. See, that was about 15 to 20 seconds. Okay. So it's my phone that's delayed. I have to figure out how I can watch my chat on OBS. Because I don't see, I can't see the chat. As I stated again, right now I'm trying to pull up the book. Cree Cree, don't volunteer other people. Yeah, CIP usually He taught me on this when he said he was gonna teach me some more stuff after he came back from his trip. Okay, go up to the docs tab. Docs, I see it. I see docs. What you want me to go to next? Well, I appreciate you. After the docs tab, go to chat. Okay. And he probably showed me this. I didn't write things down. Okay, I see it. Somebody, could somebody put 1 or 2 in the chat so I could see if it's still going to be a delay? I'm pulling up the book now. Click docs, then scroll down. I did that. Okay. Do it again because I was looking at the book. Put the 1 in the chat again. So, okay, I see you, Cree. So there's no delay. Was there a delay? Cree, I think it's coming in faster. Okay, try it again. I'm going to be ready. I'm pulling up the book. I'm trying to get to our correct chapter, okay? It's going to be about 30 seconds, Mike Love. You know Judge Love gotta be satisfied. I'm on 6. I'm still strolling. Nine. Mike, you rushing me. 11. 13. I'm almost there, good people. You said tell us when you're ready to check. Oh, yeah, I'm ready to check the delay. Go ahead and somebody hit 1 for me. One. 2. How long was that one? Sending this right after you say it. 1. 15. It's still 15 seconds. I wonder I wonder why what I need to adjust. That's a long delay, 15 seconds. Yeah, it's something I need to adjust. I hit CIP up. I didn't want to hit him up too soon after he came from his vacation. But I'll send him a text message and ask him what's causing the what it could be that's causing the delay. But right now we're on chapter 15. You guys know that Peter and Pamela already spent, and the so this is chapter 15. Once they had eaten and dressed, Peter and Pamela went downstairs for the meeting with May. Pamela knew Peter would not allow her to be alone. Probably I have to check the latency on your YouTube chat setting. Okay. Simi Cree, could you please just text me that so I can remember, and I'll go back and look at it when I'm through reading, because I'll forget. Pamela knew Peter would not allow her to be alone in the kitchen for long, so she decided not to waste any time getting to the point. Leaving Peter in the dining room, she pushed open the kitchen door. May sat at the table peeling potatoes. "Good morning, May." "Hello, Pamela." May did not look at her. Pamela sat down in a chair directly across from her. "I want to talk to you about what has happened." "We have little to say to one another, dearie." "I think we do." May continued peeling potatoes and did not look up. "Then say your piece." Pamela's stomach rolled as she saw the ridges in May's face. She remembered that expression from her childhood. When May took exception of hearing Pamela cuss at a playmate, Pamela forced that memory back as she said, "Peter asked me to marry him. Is that so?" "Yes, May, that is so." "When's the wedding?" "We have not yet set a date. There are legal issues about my inheritance, and that must be handled before the wedding." "I know Lucy spoke to you." "She did." "May, I know you are angry with me." Pamela, I am the employee of Master Renard. I have no say in his private affairs." "Perhaps not, but I care about what you think of me." "Then perhaps you should have considered that before you did what you did." "What I did, May, I did because it's in my heart. I love Peter, and he loves me. There's nothing shameful about that." May threw the peeled potato in the pot, splashing water onto the table and onto Pamela's dress. Raising her voice more than Pamela would have liked, May chastised her. "I suppose sharing a marriage bed before the marriage is something to celebrate." "What do you think Sir George would have to say about that?" Pamela heard Peter's voice behind her. If Sir George were alive, he would give Pamela away at our wedding. The glare over Pamela's head at Peter. "Master Renard, I will be seeking other employ. There is no need to sack me." Pamela felt Peter's hand on her shoulder. "May, I have no intention of sacking you." May pushed back her chair and stood, looking as intimidating as Pamela had ever seen her look. She spoke her mind directly to Peter. Miss Constance once told me that if I ever wanted to work for her family, to let her know. I will be sending a letter to her telling her I am ready to move on and ask if she will employ me. Pamela started protesting. Peter interrupting. Pamela, allow me to handle this. Pamela, being close to tears, simply said, Peter, May is my mom. Don't let her leave. Everything stopped. A pot hissing on the stove made its only sound. Pamela felt tears slide down her face, but made no attempt to wipe them away. When Peter spoke, his voice held a quiet distance. May, do you remember the Christmas before Sir George died? Of course I do. I ain't feeble-minded yet. We had a conversation on Christmas Eve. Do you remember? May gave Peter a queer look, but did not say anything. I see you do. I do. Sir George told you the day before that you would be my employee since he had passed. He also told you I would be Pamela's guardian. Pamela looked from one to the other. She knew something had passed between them on that night that she knew nothing about. Glancing at May, she realized May had tears on her cheeks. She wanted to ask what in the heavens' name they were about, but thought better of it. Peter seemed to understand what needed to be done. Peter continued, we were all trying to come to terms with Sir George's illness and that he would be leaving us soon. I came into the kitchen to speak to you privately about Pamela. You did. May brushed the tears from her eyes, taking the tea towel from her waistband, and she wiped her nose. Do you remember what you said to me? I told you this is nonsense, that you would be her guardian. I saw you were in love with her. I told you to tell Sir George you would marry her and be done with it. May, that was 6 years ago. Pamela was only 16. You saw my feelings for her and wanted us to marry. Had we married, I would have taken her into my bed straight away, but I waited. You did. You didn't just wait. You sent her away. I had to send her away. I did not have the strength to have her under my roof and not in my bed. Now that Pamela is grown and has a proper education, I want her to be my wife. She will have me, if she will have me. You have waited this long. Why the bloomin' hell couldn't you have waited for a proper wedding night? Because I am still not strong enough to have her under my roof. Jay Tillman, what's the matter? Because under my roof and not in my bed. Our wedding must wait for reasons that are private between Pamela and myself. Our love for one another could not wait any longer. May studied Pamela for a moment and then sat down. Reaching across the table, she took Pamela's hand. Missy, I know you've had eyes for this one since the first time he walked through the door. I often thought it a shame that God saw fit to make you so much younger. It seems God is wiser than the rest of us. because he knew that what he joins together cannot be taken apart. Pamela choked back a sob. She managed to say, May, I love him with all my heart. I will be his wife legally. I already am in spirit. Peter added, we will keep our separate rooms until we are married, for the sake of discretion. We will not reveal our engagement until we have set a date. Until then, our love will remain private and inside this house. When do you expect the date to be? May again wiped her nose with the tea towel. I hope soon. Pamela's inheritance is in question. We must make sure her bequest from Sir George is protected before we can marry legally. Is that true, Missy? Your inheritance is why you're waiting for marriage? Yes, May, it is true. It is too complicated to explain right now. But if I hope to keep what Papa left for me, I have to wait to marry. I didn't know. Peter redirected the conversation. Hey, Derek. Good to see you, my love. May, if I remember correctly, you don't like Constance. She's a prig. I've heard that before. Peter squeezed Pamela's shoulder. Then I hope we can count on you to stay in our employ. For now, just don't take too long to have to go to the church for a wedding. We will make arrangements as soon as we can. Pamela will be beautiful in a wedding dress, don't you think? May smiled. I've always said she will be beautiful, a beautiful bride. I just want to live to see it. Just then Lucy came into the kitchen from the back stairs. When she saw Peter and Pamela with May, she stopped short, then turned to leave. Lucy, wait. Peter came around the table. Do you know where Jack is? Yes, sir. He is in the parlor cleaning the glass lamps. Turning to Pamela, he asked, it is such a beautiful summer's day. Would you like to go out and about? Perhaps we could talk through the Covenant Garden. Oh, Peter, you know how I adore the Covenant Garden. Haven't been there since last Christmas. Then get yourself ready. I will tell Jack to bring the carriage around. Peter leaned over and kissed May on the cheek. Are we four square, Miss May? Oh, fiddlesticks. You know I ain't leaving. Someone has to have some common sense in this house. Pamela jumped up and ran around the table, wrapping her arms around May's neck. Her relief poured out. Oh, I just knew you wouldn't leave. You could never work for that namby-pamby Constance. She would drive you bats. May patted her hand. You best be minding yourself, Missy, until you and Master here are married. Lucy giggled and tried to cover it with a cough. Pamela kissed the top of May's head. I'll mind myself. Perhaps you should say the same to the mister. There's no point in doing that. He do what he pleases. Has ever since I've known him. May gave Peter a pointed look. You are quite correct, May. I do what pleases me. With that, he turned Pamela around and kissed her full on in the mouth, in the front of both May and Lucy. Not saying another word, he left the kitchen to find Jack. They heard him whistling as he made his way to the parlor. Pamela stared at the door. Well, isn't that something? He can whistle. Lucy grinned. I told you, miss. Surprised the bejesus out of me. Lucy, mind your manners. May's scolding didn't temper Lucy's amusement. Master Renner is happy. Men whistle when they are happy. Yes, ma'am. Both Pamela and Lucy had to swallow hard to keep from giggling. Pamela managed to stay. Lucy, would you please come to my room and help me with my hair? I did it myself today. I fear it may come down when I put the bonnet on. Of course, miss. May, I expect we will be back before dinner. I will check with Master Renner and let Lucy know before we leave. Pamela led the way back up the stairs, with Lucy close behind. When they entered the upstairs hall, they could no longer hold the giggles, running down the hall like schoolgirls. When they burst into Pamela's room and closed the door. When Pamela had enough breath to speak, she couldn't help but blurt out, Master Renner should be whistling with a happy tune for quite some time now. That set off another wave of laughter, which took several minutes to fully subside. Lucy, I really do have to prepare to leave. Peter will be here at any moment, asking what is taking me so long. Lucy wiped the tears from her face, now quite flushed from laughing. Quite so, miss. Sit and I will pin it more securely. Pamela sat at her vanity while Lucy skillfully rearranged her hair. Lucy, you haven't said anything about what has happened. I told you, miss, I am happy about your engagement. Is it meant to be? I know you are happy about our being married. That isn't what I meant. It is not my place to say more, miss. Lucy, I confide in you about my feelings, Peter, and what I wanted to happen. Pamela saw Lucy smile in the looking glass. Yes, miss, you did. You know it happened last evening. I know, miss. I saw the stains in Master's bed. Hold on, y'all, a minute. Lucy, it is wonderful. More wonderful than I ever imagined. The way he is whistling, I suppose the mister thinks the same. Their eyes met in the looking glass and they both burst out laughing. Peter knocked on the door. Pamela, what in the devil is going on in there? Without waiting for an invitation, he walked in. Pamela spoke to his reflection in the looking glass. She saw him scrutinizing both Lucy and herself. Do you always walk into a lady's boudoir during her toilet? Not usually. However, it seems I have a license to do so now, especially when I hear something on. Pamela smiled. I wouldn't let May hear you say that. She could well box your ears for such presumptuousness. She wouldn't know what I said unless, of course, one of you tell her I did. I'm not going to tell her. Are you going to tell her, Lucy? No, Miss Pamela, certainly not. It seems you both are the mice that took the cheese from the rabbit laughter I heard. Might you share with me what bloody hell is going on and so amusing? Peter Renner, there are some female secrets not meant for male ears. Lucy, could you hand me my bonnet and parasol? Yes, miss. Peter, we will be back for dinner. Yes, I plan to be. Lucy, well, you informed May that we have dinner at 6 o'clock this evening. Yes, sir. The dining room or library? The dining room. I do believe. Then May will know all hands are on the table. Peter checked his pocket watch as was his habit. Are you ready, Pams? Jack should have brought around the carriage by now. I'm ready. Pamela slipped her arm in Peter's, adding and very willing. Peter patted her hand. I am aware. They rode quietly down Piccadilly, enjoying the day with each other. By 12:30, they had arrived at the Covent Garden Piazza. They walked past the vendors with their carts, the wagons with flowers brilliant in the summer sun. The sights and smells of the market brought back fond memories for Pamela, the days when her father would take her there to shop and to see the street performers. Walking arm in arm with Peter, she remembered the acrobats, the jugglers, the mimes, and her very favorite puppets. Their antics always tickled her. She chuckled, remembering her curiosity about what they were doing in the box under the stage. Peter interrupted her reverie. Did you see something amusing? No, I simply remember being here with Papa and watching the street performers. She smiled and squeezed Peter's arm. I always imagined the puppets having a secret life under the stage where they would, shall we say, commit a few indiscretions. Pamela, your pre-consciousness only increases with age. He laughed, adding, perhaps our circumstance will give us a glimpse of their life under the stage. Pamela nodded in agreement. You may be quite correct about that. A gentleman walking past Pamela touched her arm. Pamela, is that really you? Lowering her parasol to see the man's face, Pamela recognized him immediately. Charles? What on earth are you doing here? I expect the same thing. You are enjoying the day. Forcing herself to remain composed, she turned to Peter. Peter, might I introduce Charles Campbell, the brother of a classmate. Charles, this is Peter Renner. Hello, Peter. How very fine to see you again. Hello, Charles. Pamela, now quite bewildered, asked, You know one another? Quite so. He met me. We met at a party my cousin Constance hosted. Peter was her escort. Pamela could see the tight line in Peter's jaw at the motion of Constance. She quickly deflected the conversation. Oh, how charming, and such a coincidence. Peter Charles graciously escorted me to the party in April. His sister Sarah attended Newham with me. That is how we met. Indeed, that is a coincidence now, isn't it? Pamela could see Peter's jawline rippled as he ground his teeth. Conversely, Charles smiled warmly. Are you back in London now? Yes, I am. It is so good to be home. Directing his next question to Peter, Pamela's heart sank to her toes. I say, old man, would you mind terribly if I call on Pamela? I would enjoy seeing her again. Uh-oh. It's trouble in the camp, y'all. So what do y'all think? Anybody there? I think Pamela done spent with this dude. With rigid self-control, Peter replied, I dare say that is up to Pamela. Fully understanding the familiar connection to Constance and needed to maintain decorum. Pamela smiled and said, Of course, Charles. Please drop by for tea tomorrow afternoon and we will talk. That would be 169 Piccadilly on the corner of Bolton and Piccadilly. She felt nauseous and thought surely she would vomit. Marvelous. I shall do that. He took hold of Pamela's hand and kissed it. It is delightful seeing you again. Almost as an afterthought, he nodded to Peter. Good seeing you again, Peter. Peter nodded in return. Pamela felt his fingertips sink deeper into her arms. Once Charles disappeared in the crowd, Pamela felt the need to sit down. Peter, could we find a bench or perhaps cafe? I'm feeling a bit faint. We passed the tea shop a few minutes ago. You do look as though you could use a cup of tea. Pamela nodded, not feeling well enough to speak. Peter led her back through the crowd to the small tea shop where they sat. He ordered them each some tea and crumpets. Pamela sipped her tea and ate, her stomach calm. She felt more in control of the situation. Peter, do you have an opinion about how best to handle this? No, he said flatly. You have nothing to say. I find that difficult to fathom. What is there to say, Pamela? Charles will soon inherit his father's title and his seat in the House of the Lords. If you marry him, you will be a countess and the wife of Earl of Essex. Isn't that what Sir George wanted and asked me to oversee in his absence? Peter Renner, you are the single most infuriating man God ever placed on the face of the earth, and I am sure you could hire out as the town crier. Pamela, we are in a shop. Why would Pamela get so sick if her and that boy didn't, if her and what's his name, Charles, if her and Charles didn't have a little more going on than she said that they had going on? I wouldn't give a fig if it were in Westminster Abbey. I agreed to see him only because of our situation, for no other reason indeed. I intend to tell him the truth, that I am betrothed. Peter's teacup froze halfway to his mouth. You can't do that. Pamela stood nearly knocking over her chair. You just watch me. She turned and left the shop. Peter ran after her, nearly losing her in the crowd. Grabbing her arm from behind, he pulled her to the side. Keeping his voice low, he growled at her. Pamela, what has gotten into you? You did, in case you have already forgotten. What the devil is that supposed to mean? That means we are already married in spirit. At least that's what you told me. One chance meeting with the title suitor, and you are back singing the same old song. Peter glanced around, concerned they would be overheard. Pamela, this is not something we should be discussing here. Just answer this for me, Peter. Do you want me to treat Charles as a suitor? Should I let him touch me as a lover? With fire in his eyes, he answered her. If he lays a hand on you, I'll kill that son of a bitch. All right then. Can you be home tomorrow for tea? Probably. Why? Don't you think I should have a proper chaperone when I take tea in the parlor with Charles? Are you going to tell him about us? I said I would tell him that I am betrothed. I didn't say I would identify my intendant. Do you realize you are courting a scandal? Peter realistically, whenever he announced our engagement, there will be no doubt gossip. Most of them will thoroughly enjoy being scandalized. Pamela kissed him on the cheek and whispered, I would give a month's income on my properties to see the expression on Constance's face when she hears the news. Peter smiled. I would match that with a month's income on mine. He glanced at his pocket watch. We still have an hour before meeting Jack at the carriage. Let me buy you some flowers. Pamela napped during the carriage ride home. Peter woke her only when Jack stopped the carriage at the front gate. Pam's, we're home, wake up, we're home. Peter lifted her head from her shoulder and squinted when he glanced out the window. Yes, we are home. You might want to adjust your bonnet. It's tipped sideways. The neighbors will think you've had a bit too much gin. Peter reached across her to open the door, and Pamela swatted his arm. Smart Alec. Jack came around and helped her out the carriage. He winked at her as she stepped down. Pamela blushed, then returned a smile, knowing Lucy had shared the news. Once inside, Peter leaned over and whispered in her ear, We have some time before dinner. I want you to go into the library and wait for me. I will be directly in. Why, you'll see. He swatted her bottom, tit for tat. Then he ran up the stairs. Pamela went into the library, took her bonnet off. She still held the bouquet of violets that Peter brought for her. She poured some water from the pitcher into the glass, then carefully arranged the flowers to put them on Peter's desk. When he came in, Peter closed the door. He came around to the inside of the desk, opened a drawer, and took out a measuring ruler. He moved the glass with the flowers on the windowsill. What in the devil are you doing? Preparing you for discipline. What? It seems you need to be shown what will happen when you have unseemly outbursts in public places. Bend over and put your hands on the desk. Pamela didn't move. Peter stood with the ruler lightly tapping it against the palm of his hands. Pamela, I'm waiting. You aren't serious. Oh, yes, I am. I told Lucy we are not going to be disturbed and that we will be out for dinner shortly. May is to hold the servings until we are seated. He continued to tap the ruler against his palm, unless, of course, your preference will be to stand and take your meal. Now you are going to bend over. Pamela could see he meant to do as he said. We don't have much time. I don't want May to cross that meal cross that our meal is ruined. Then I suggested we get down to it. Bend over, Pamela. With her heart pounding, Pamela put her hands on the edge of Peter's desk. Right. Let her know spanking comes with disobedience. Okay, Mike. Pamela put her hands on the edge of Peter's desk. Almost immediately, she felt him beside her, raising her skirt and petticoat. He tucked the hem of her garments under the sash of her dress to hold them up. After hooking his fingers into the waistband of her knickers, he pulled them down to her ankles and raised each foot to pull them off. The cool air against her bare skin made her shiver. Peter rolled out her stockings down her knees. Why are you doing that? Aren't I bare enough for you? He answered with a sharp swat of the ruler against her arse. The sting went directly to her clitoris. Pamela, you are being disciplined. I am not required to explain my actions. However, you are required to comply with obedience. He tapped the insides of her thighs with the ruler. I'm going to warn you, spread your legs wider. When she did, Peter slid the flat side of the ruler between her legs and rubbed her. She involuntarily pressed herself against the flat surface, trying to increase the pressure. He allowed her to masturbate against the ruler for several seconds. In a hoarse whisper, she muttered, "My God, Peter, this is lewd." Deliciously so, Pamela, as it should be. It whets an appetite before the main course. Without warning, he smacked her. She lurched forward and moaned. Pamela, stay still. She straightened her back just as the ruler connected again. The wood bit her flesh, the stroke burning and then tingling. What had been pain became pleasure. As her already swollen clitoris throbbed with need, again Peter smacked her. This time she heard a sound from him that sounded as though he growled. With each successive stroke, the pleasure and the need increased. Peter, she moaned his name. Please release. Tell me, Pamela. Tell me what you want. This time, the stroke lashed her thighs. I want you. Her bum flamed with heat as he smacked her again. No, tell me what you really want. You know the words. You have been reading them long enough. Her breath now coming from short gasps. I want you to prick my cunt. I want you to fuck me until I scream. He put the ruler down on the desk beside her. She realized he must be undoing his trousers. Gathering her wits, she asked Peter what about the sheet? Dear Pamela, why do you think I had to go upstairs to my room? I did not forget. He positioned himself behind her. Say it again, Pamela. What do you want? Peter, have mercy. I want your cock. I need to spin. The next moment, he buried his full length inside of her. Aching cunt, slamming his pelvis to her arse. He took her harshly, deliberately. Pamela pushed backwards with every thrust, reveling in the sensation of his hardness rubbing her. The need in her body controlled her, perhaps held her hips, and thumped against her hot arse. While she rolled his cock as though possessed by demons, they savagely fucked. Her climax hit without warning. She squeezed her buttocks in and thighs as if every muscle in her lower body contracted. Peter continued to slam into her as she shuddered. When he shouted, "Yes, thinking hell, yes," she knew Peter had also seen the face of God. Barely taking the time to get his breath, Peter slid out of her. He rolled her stockings back up her thighs, adjusted the garters. Once he picked up her knickers, he gently lifted each foot and threaded it through the leg hole. Before pulling them over his pink bum, he tenderly kissed each cheek. Only after he lowered her skirt and petticoat did he remove the sheath of his own clothing. Once they were both presentable, he glanced at his watch. 5 minutes passed. I hardly think May will be cross. Our tardiness is negligible. Do you think she will guess why we are late? Pamela smoothed her skirt once more, hoping the creases were not obvious. Well, sweet thing, if she does, my guess is she would approve of the spanking. To be sure, she would not approve of what followed, unless she stood in the door listening. She would not know, of course. Lucy might. I don't mind if Lucy knows. Is that so? You have intimacies with Lucy, of which I am unaware. Now, Peter, that would be telling. She smiled demurely as they made their way towards the dining room. At breakfast, Peter told May they would have a guest for tea this afternoon. Peter asked Jack to collect him at 2 o'clock, hoping to have a bit of time with Pamela before their guests arrived. When Peter came home, Pamela hardly prepared the parlor for the afternoon tea. May had made her special scones with Devonshire cream jam as a platter of finger sandwiches and petit fours. The tea would be served once Charles arrived. Peter surveyed the table, set with the best china. We may have outdone ourselves. He reached for a scone. Pamela slapped his fingers. Mind yourself. You muse my arrangement. Pardon me? Isn't this my house? Pardon me? I thought it was our house. Now, so it is. Peter carefully pulled out the scone and rearranged the rest to cover the empty space. Holding up his prize, he teased her. Now I have my scone in our house, and you have your arrangement in our house. It is my job to have more wisdom than most. Speaking of which, I had an interesting conversation today with a friend, Richard Pankhurst. He broke off a bit of his scone and handed it to Pamela. She took it without paying attention or making... Hold on. Or making any attempt to eat it. What did he say? Peter swallowed a mouthful of scone. You should taste this. It's quite good. Peter chuckled. All right. I suppose you aren't hungry. He took the piece of the scone back and popped it in his mouth with poise worthy of a fine hostess at afternoon tea. Pamela walked up to him, gripped his buttocks in her hand and squeezed. Peter nearly choked. What in the bloody hell are you doing? Bits of the scone fell from his mouth. Getting your attention. Peter removed her hand from his crotch and put the rest of the unfinished scone in it. You have made your point. I thought I might. Now, what did Richard's friend tell you? Now that the Liberal Party has won the election, the grand old man is prime minister. Pankhurst's bill is back on the table. Gladstone has been contacted with Pankhurst directly, asking for a new draft of the Married Women's Property Act. With Gladstone's personally behind the legislation, it was a good chance of becoming law. Pamela clapped her hands. You see, Peter, I told you. Emmeline thought it would be soon. It is a bit of good fortune that Gladstone won the election. And hold on a second, guys. You finished, boo? Mare. Oh. Okay. For those who didn't know, who weren't aware, Pamela was waiting for this bill to be passed before she got married. It was taken off the table, so now it's back on the table. And Emmeline, the lady who wrote the bill, she said she thought it would be soon. It is a bit of good fortune that Gladstone won the election with the Liberals back in power. The Conservatives would not have supported Pankhurst. I will write to Emmeline this evening. She will surely tell me what she knows. Excuse me, hold on, I have to plug my computer up. Computer wanted me, it was She will surely tell me what she knows about the progress of the bill. And I have yet to tell her I am to marry an older barrister. She, just as she did. Pam's, might I remind you, our engagement is a secret. Emmeline is my friend. I trust her, Peter. She will not give us away. I hope not. Anyway, we may not have to keep the secret much longer. Pamela, Parliament does not act overnight. It may be a year or more before this issue is decided. Then we will wait. In the meantime, you can use your influence to gain votes. It's that simple, is it? Of course, darling Peter. You are an influential man. I inherited Papa's fortune. You inherited his reputation and his daughter. To your good fortune indeed. Lucy knocked on the door. Pardon me, Miss Pamela. Lord Charles Campbell is here to see you. Yes, of course. Show him in. Lucy. And then please bring him tea. Yes, miss. Lucy curtsied and Charles entered the parlor. Charles, how very good to see you. Charles bowed. And you, Pamela? He took her hand and kissed it. Peter had stepped to the side, making himself known to the guest. He said, hello, Charles. Welcome to my home. Charles, obviously startled, jumped a bit. Peter! Yes, indeed. Thank you. Regaining his composure, he added, I am sorry. I didn't see you. I thought you might still be in chambers. I excused myself early today, knowing Pamela had arranged tea. Pamela could see the tension between the two men. Assuming her role as a hostess, she invited Charles to sit. Please, Charles, have a seat and I will fix you a plate of maize dainties. Pamela abused herself at the table, making small talk. How is Sarah? I haven't seen her since we left Newnham. She is well, doing a bit of writing now, poetry mostly. Father promised her he would find a journal that would take her work. Although, honestly, I can't imagine who would want it. Pamela handed him a plate. Why do you say that? My recollection is that she writes quite well. I find her work derivative. I actually made a game of reading a piece she has written and finding the poetry she has mimicked. So far, I am 8 for 10. I am still working on the elusive 2. Pamela went back to the table to make a plate for Peter. Perhaps she is still finding her voice. Perhaps so. I expect she will forget the whole business when she finally marries. Lucy came in with the tea, creating a welcome distraction. Pamela handed Peter a plate, rolling her eyes as she did so. He got the message and engaged Charles in conversation. Pamela felt relieved until she heard the chosen topic. What do you think the grand old man being prime minister again, Charles? Quite something, isn't it? Pamela gave Peter a cup of tea and a sharp look. He saw the smirk on Peter's face as he sipped the tea. Peter, I'm sure Charles does not wish to speak of politics. Charles spoke up behind her. It's quite all right, Pamela. I don't mind expressing my family's views that his re-election is a travesty. The Queen, besides herself, she confided to my father that she is devastated by the Israelis' defeat. Pamela muttered, I'm sure she'll get over it. Peter heard her and chuckled. Fortunately, Charles didn't catch what she said. Without releasing it, Charles had just made what she had to tell him infinitely easier. Handing him his teacup, she sat down beside him. Charles, I have something to tell you that I believe should be said straight away. What is it, Pamela? You look serious. Let me say it is wonderful to see you again. I hope we can remain friends, but I have accepted a proposal of marriage from someone else. Have you? I hadn't heard. It is not public knowledge yet. For personal reasons, we have not announced our engagement. Charles glanced at Peter, who sat quietly sipping tea. He said nothing. Do I know your fiancé? Pamela blushed. It would be indiscreet for me to say. Please understand, Charles, I am bound by a promise to him to say nothing until certain private matters are resolved. He addressed the next question to Peter. Peter, do you approve of this engagement and give it your blessing? Pamela held her breath, not knowing what Peter would say. Quite assuredly so. Sir George met him before he passed away and considered him a prodigy. Well then, Pamela, I offer you my sincerest of congratulations. Of course, I expect an invitation to the wedding. I will be sure to send you one, Charles, as I certainly will. Your cousin Constance, however, I would appreciate. Oh my God, I lost my page. What did I do? I'm sorry, y'all. I lost my page. Let me go back to it. Okay, we're back. Your cousin Constance, however, I would appreciate your keeping this private matter until it's announced. Of course, Pamela. Anything for you. Charles stood preparing to leave. Pamela stood as well. He took her hand and kissed it. Pamela, I want you to know, if for whatever reason you do not marry this man, I am at your service. Thank you, Charles. I will remember. Peter, Charles. Pamela saw Charles close the door. Is anybody there? Hello, good people. That's right, Peter. Good people. That is the ending of chapter 16. Do y'all want me to keep going, or y'all want me to go on to chapter 17? Or Derek, since you're the only one answering, what would you like for me to do, honey? Would you like for me to keep reading? Would you like for me to read chapter 16? And we stop at 17? Oh, okay. Y'all want me to keep reading? Okay. Let me go back. Chapter 16. This is around Christmas time. Peter needs to step his game up. Why you say he needs to step his game up? Jay Tillman, there's nothing he can do. Okay, we gonna read 17. Hey, he is not the only one listening. No, he's not. Derek is not. But he was who popped up first. I apologize, Jay Tillman. Listen, Jay Tillman, why you say Peter needs to step his game up? Do y'all think he playing it cool because he want that inheritance? Peter's a no, she is too. You must not. Was you there when Pamela played with everybody? Pamela played with Jack. Did you know that? Hey Chelsea, my favorite snow bunny. Derek Gaines, did you know that Pamela played with Jack? Pamela played with Lucy. Did you know that? Did you know that she had sexual encounters with Jack, Lucy, and who else did she have sexual encounters with? I want to think she had also that guy Charles. I don't know. All that stuff he does seem corny, but she's just a super freak. So whatever she does, whatever he's done, yes, because she was reading the books. But I think the books that she was reading, Charles' sister was writing those books. I think Charles' sister was writing the books that she was reading. Because she said she read 8 of 10 of the books. How you doing, G Honda? Thank you for coming in. So we're going to get to the next chapter. I think this chapter going to be a little bit dirtier than the other chapters. Chapter 16. The Christmas tree stood outside the kitchen door at 169 Piccadilly, propped against the back of the fence. Peter had Jack put it in there last evening. The old wooden tub meant to hold the Norway spruce cracked when Jack filled it with sand. This being the first year they had a tree large enough to place on the floor, they had nothing else to stand it in. Pamela asked Jack to get another tub and more candles for the tree. After dropping Peter at Chambers, she gave Jack a letter of permission and asked him to stop at the storage house on Old Compton Street to retrieve the ornaments from her father's house. Now that they had a bigger tree, she could display them. Having the familiar ornaments again would both comfort her and truly make it feel like home. While they waited for Jack to return, Lucy and Pamela bemused themselves hanging garland of holly and ivy in the doorways and around the parlor. The house smelled of gingerbread, as May was baking marvelous gingerbread men to hang on the tree. Cranberry stringing would be next. Pamela, where do you want to hang these? Lucy held up a basket filled with bunches of mistletoe. Over every door, Lucy. I bought a whole lot of them from the vendor yesterday, basket and all. Miss, this is plenty of mistletoe. It is. You must be figuring on a whole mess of kisses. Pamela grinned. I am. Lucy helped up a bunch. Maybe I should hang a bunch in the kitchen over my door. Do you think Jack will notice? He will if he knows what's good for him. Oh, I think I might know what's good for him. Well, see if Peter gets the hint. Miss Pamela, all this mistletoe should tell him something. Do you know he has never kissed me under the mistletoe? For Lord's sake, why? Probably because he's fearing losing control. If he did now, that isn't concern. Thank you very much, Chelsea. I appreciate you. For Lord's sake, why? Probably because he feared losing control if he did. Now that isn't a concern. You and the mister have quite a time together. I see that. Indeed we do. He is a changed man. Miss, he's happier than I've ever known him to be. Lucy, hold the stool while I tack this up. Pamela took a bunch of mistletoe and hung it over the parlor door. They repeated the process over each door, with the library door being last. Pamela retrieved a bottle of rum from the library cupboard. Lucy, run to the kitchen and get us some tea. We are going to have some Christmas cheer while we string up the cranberries. Miss Pamela, the mister won't be happy you're taking Christmas cheer this early on today. The mister isn't here now, is he? Lucy giggled. No, miss, he isn't. Pamela about to give it up to Lucy. The miss and what's the worst thing that could happen if he did find out? I don't mind if he take me over his knee. Miss Pamela, Lucy, you must know he enjoys that sort of thing. Lucy blushed. Miss, it ain't proper for me to be talking to you about the mister. At our first night together, you made up the bed and saw that he broke me. You've known we've been intimate for months, many, many months. I think you see more than you let on. Lucy wiped her hands on her apron, as she always did when her nerves got on edge. Run and get us tea now. We'll get on with the decorating. Lucy had left Pamela, stopped at Peter's desk. He kept a tin of sheet there, as well as several well-used paddling implements. After considering for a moment, she selected the hairbrush and a sheath to take to the parlor. Perhaps she would receive a special Christmas Eve present beside the tree. Pamela smiled as she went back up to the parlor. She discreetly tucked the hairbrush and the sheath behind the picture frame on the piano. Certainly Lucy knew Peter spanked her. For several months now, Peter would call Pamela into the library and close the door. Sometimes he would chastise her for some transgression. Other times, he would say he had lost patience with her sass. He would spank her and then make amorous advances, often asking her to disrobe while he watched. His discipline made her burn, and he knew it. Always he would manipulate her into a lustful frenzy before allowing her to spin. Several times recently, Pamela saw a shadow pass under the library door while she and Peter were enjoying another. Fortunately, Peter hadn't noticed. Suspecting Lucy to be eavesdropping, Pamela decided she would somehow confront Lucy. Not wanting Peter to catch her listening, she wanted to warn Lucy that Peter could discover her secret. Today, she had the opportunity to offer a warning. If only she could persuade Lucy to speak of it. And realization came over Pamela while considering how to best handle this. Knowing Lucy might be well privy to the intimate moments they excited her. Pamela remembered how it felt to her the day she accidentally saw Lucy and Jack together. Every time she thought of it, her clitoris itched. She wondered if perhaps Lucy felt the same. She picked up a rosewood music box from the mantel and wound it. Peter had given it to her the Christmas before. It played, God Rest Ye Merry Gentlemen. When Lucy came into the parlor carrying the tray with tea, she caught Pamela humming along. Miss Pamela, you surely are in the Christmas spirit. You hum almost as good as the Mr. Whistles. And is it a blessing, Lucy, that after many months he's still whistling? Yes, miss, it is. You make me happy. As May said last summer, God willing, it will always be so. Lucy poured the tea. You can't add rum now. If anyone comes in, they'll think we're just having some tea, unless they are close enough to smell our breath. Pamela opened the bottle and poured a healthy dollop of rum into each cup, handing Lucy one and keeping the other. Pamela held the teacup up in a toast. Happy Christmas, Lucy, and a happy Christmas to you, Miss Pamela. It is a pleasure being your employee. Why, thank you, Lucy. I am quite happy to have you in our house. I need a woman here my age. I adore May, but she can be a bit sour at times. Don't I know, miss? She is cross with me most of the time. Lucy, I know her very well. Her bark is much worse than her bite. It ain't troubling me. I know my job and I do it proper. If she sees something I should do better, I listen. Otherwise, I don't pay her any mind. And when she is sharp with me, Pamela sat on the sofa, picked up the needle and thread. Come sit beside me and let's get to stringing. Lucy gingerly sat on the edge of the sofa and picked up the bowl of cranberries. Lucy, for goodness sake, relax. She topped off Lucy's tea with more rum. You obviously need some more Christmas cheer. Miss Pamela, you'll have me drunk as a fiddler. I'm sure Jack shares his flask with you, doesn't he? How do you know about that? When I've needed it, he shared some with me. Has he now? Lucy sipped her tea. Pamela could see a bit of jealousy bubble up. I only thought the two of you were being as close as you are would share a little more than a pint that we have, like the mister and I have. Lucy glanced at Pamela, no doubt weighing whether she should say more. After taking another sip of tea, Lucy nodded. Jack fancies me like the mister does you. Pamela continued threading the cranberries. Lucy leaned back on the sofa and began threading her bowl of berries. Lucy, does Jack ever spank you the way Peter spanks me? Pamela hoped the matter-of-fact tone of her question would encourage Lucy to share her experience. Sometimes. Do you like it? Lucy blushed, but answered honestly, yes, miss, I do. So do I. I know, miss. Pamela finally had an opening. Do you hear us in the library sometimes? Sometimes I do. But then you know a bit of what we do. Pamela shifted on the sofa. The itching around her clitoris intensified. Lucy did not look up from her string of cranberries. Continuing to pierce each berry with the sewing needle, she answered, You and the mister do go on. He's very forceful in his ways. Do you like that, miss? I do. He makes me tingle all over. So does Jack. He's quite the rooster, he is. I expect he is. If you don't mind my asking, what what does he do that you like? Lucy giggled. Miss Pamela, you should not be asking me such a thing. And why not? Peter asked me to do all sorts of things with him. I'm curious about Jack. What does he ask you to do? Lucy blurted out. He likes to feel my boobies, he does. He's all the time trying to squeeze them. Pamela sipped her tea and slid closer to Lucy. Do you let him? Depends. If no one's around, I'll give him a bit of a titty. Lucy glanced at Pamela's chest. I'm expecting the mister is fond of yours. Pamela giggled. Lucy, he is a gentleman. But when it comes to getting a handful, I swear to him to be a sailor from the docks. I know he fancies boobies, miss. Yours are fine ones. They are. He must be all over you. Jack also has an eye for them. But it is no surprise he is after yours. They are quite beautiful. Thank you, Miss Pamela. Would you mind if I touched them, Miss Pamela? Uh-oh, y'all, here they go. Thank you, Miss Pamela. Miss Pamela, do you remember you touched mine one day? I asked you how to best control my urges before Peter broke me. Lucy shifted on the sofa, moving a little closer to Pamela. I remember, miss. You spent saying Mister's name. Lucy, could you please close the parlor door? Certainly, Miss Pamela. While Lucy walked across the room to close the door, Pamela poured some tea. Here they go, y'all. Lucy came back to the sofa. Pamela patted the spot beside her. Sit here, Lucy. Lucy sat next to Pamela, so close her apron draped across Pamela's leg. Reaching across Lucy's lap, Pamela picked up the teacup and handed it to Lucy. I warmed the tea, have a bit more. Lucy took the cup again, glanced at Pamela's chest. Miss, you can touch my boobies if you want. Pamela caressed Lucy's breast with the back of her hand, as Peter has done to her so many times over the last month. You can touch mine if you have a mind to touch them. Lucy reached out and ran her fingers down the crevice between Pamela's titties. Miss, if I might ask you, has the master ever spent here between them? He did last week when I had my cycle. Pamela took Lucy's breast in her hand. Does Jack with you? He fancies rubbing almost as much as the mister. Lucy's face turned bright red as she pulled her hand away. Oh, miss, it's the rum. I spoke out of turn. Pamela put her arm around Lucy's shoulder and pulled her close. No, Lucy, You didn't speak out of turn. I know Peter came to see you for release before I came home. Pamela continued to caress Lucy's bosoms. I also know you sometimes listen to us. I've seen your shadow outside the library door. Lucy looked horrified, clutching her apron. She appeared about to cry. Oh, miss, please, please don't tell mister. He'll sack me for sure. Lucy, it's all right. I won't tell him. But you have to be more careful so Peter doesn't notice. Miss Pamela, I won't anymore, I promise. I don't mind. I rather fancy the idea that you enjoy listening to us. Boy, Pamela, no, she a freak. She a super freak. Pamela pinched Lucy's nipples through her dress, and Lucy sighed. Do you remember when I touched myself that day when I spent in front of you? Oh, yes, miss, I remember quite well. Do you ever touch yourself while you listen to us in the library? I want to, but I wait until I get back in my room. I surely don't want to get caught. Pamela leaned quite close to Lucy. Do you ever tell Jack what you heard? Being so close to Lucy's neck, Pamela had the urge to lick it, as she would Peter's. Lucy's breathing changed as Pamela continued to knead her breast. If the mister really wallops you, I'll tell him. He likes to hear about when the mister takes the ruler to your bum. Pamela gave into the compulsion to run her tongue along the sides of Lucy's neck and then kiss her ear. Does Jack spank you when you tell him the mister has spanked me? Yes, miss. He gets randy when I tell him what I hear. Does he? What else have you told him? I told him how the mister rubs against your bum instead of always putting it in you, so you don't conceive. The mister gave Jack some sacks to catch his spunk, so we wouldn't conceive. But since Jack fancies rubbing it between my titties and bum, I let him, knowing I won't get with child that way. Pamela sat up and began unbuttoning the front of her dress. Sip your tea, Lucy. Lucy did as Pamela asked. Would you do something for me? Miss Pamela, you know I will. Will you rub my bare boobies against yours? Miss Pamela, are you drunk? Perhaps, but I am more stirred than drunk. In school, the girls will sometimes touch each other. I haven't had anyone here I could ask, but maybe we can. Lucy watched as Pamela undid her dress and lowered it to her waist. Her titties hung heavily in her camisole. Lucy stared at them as though in a trance. Slowly she reached up and untied the string, holding up the bib of her pinafore apron. She unbuttoned her dress and then stopped. Miss, there's nothing under my dress. Pamela stood. That's all right, Lucy. With no hesitation, Pamela pulled off her camisole, allowing her bare breast to tumble free. Now you. Lucy pulled her arms out of the sleeves and lowered the top of her dress, exposing her bare bosom. Miss Pamela, I've never felt like this before, except with Jack. She shyly looked away. It feels good. It feels good to me. Picking up Lucy's hand, she put it on her bare breast. Lucy touched my boobies the way Jack touches yours. Miss, Jack touches them and he suckles. The itch between Pamela's leg became a pulse beat. Would you like me to suckle, Lucy? Lucy squeezed Pamela's breast with her fingertip, sinking deep into the soft flesh. Oh my, miss, could I? It would excite me terribly, Lucy, to feel your mouth on me. Lucy leaned over and kissed the top of Pamela's breast. With a feather soft kiss, she slowly moved down the curve of her boobie. Pamela cupped Lucy's breast in her palm and then pinched her nipple. Lucy moaned, with the warm breath hitting Pamela's skin, sucking Pamela's hard bud into her mouth. She made a sound like a kitten mewing at a mom's cat teat. Pamela closed her eyes, losing herself in carnal sensation. Jack walks into the parlor. What y'all think? Y'all think they're gonna get caught? A male voice cut through their sapphic intimacy. Well now, isn't this a fine kettle of fish? Lucy jumped so forcefully, she nearly fell off the sofa, unsuccessfully pulling up her apron bib over herself. She gasped out, Jack Sims, what in the bloody hell are you doing here? Jack stood in the doorway holding his open flask of gin and grinning at the two women. Oh, Jack caught them. I thought it would be Mr. Renner. Master Renner told me to get a tub and bring it back to the stairway. He wanted me to put up a tree so Miss Pamela could do some decorating today. He paused to belt back some gin before adding, I'm to stop at the storage house on my way to fetch him home. Pamela made no attempt to cover herself, rather enjoying the way Jack looked at her. Jack put the cap back on his gin. She pointed to his flask. Aren't you going to offer us some of that, Jack? Jack pointed to the open bottle of rum. Seems you should be offering me some of that. Jack, Lucy could hardly contain her anger. You'll be getting both of us sacked, will you? Pamela patted Lucy's hands. It's all right. No one is getting sacked. Jack is quite right. I should be offering him some of our tea. Still making no attempt to cover herself, Pamela held the teacup out to Jack. Here, have a sip. Jack closed the parlor door. Coming over to the sofa, he took the cup. Smelling it, he said, There ain't much tea in here. He drank it in one gulp. Lucy watched Pamela closely. Seeing her lack of modesty, Lucy dropped her apron, fully exposing her breast. Miss Pamela, could I have some more? Certainly, Lucy. Lucy held up her teacup and Pamela poured the rum into it. Perhaps Jack would care to sit between us. Pamela slid over to the side, Lucy following Pamela's lead. Patting the cushion between them, Pamela invited Jack to sit. Setting his flask beside the open bottle, he helped himself to more than rum. After filling the cup, he sat down between the two ladies. Raising his cup, he said, Happy Christmas, Miss Pamela. Happy Christmas, Miss Lucy. He downed the contents of the cup and sat back on the tray. Lucy sat on the edge of the sofa glaring at Jack. What the feckin' devil do you think you're doing? Miss Pamela invited me to sit, so I sat. He reached out and groped her bare breast. Seems to me I should be asking you the same question. I didn't know you fancied Miss Pamela. you bleeding sod. Lucy put down her cup and stood trying to put her arms back into her dress. Pamela quickly rose and went to her. Lucy, wait. Without regard to Jack sitting there watching, Pamela embraced Lucy. Their bare breasts touched and fire moved through Pamela's chest. Holding her close, Pamela whispered, "Don't leave. He ruined it. I can't with him here." Pamela soothed her. "Yes, you can," responding to the compulsion that bubbled up inside of her. Pamela kissed Lucy full on the mouth. Obviously surprised by the contacts, Lucy jerked to the side and fell back on the sofa. Lucy scrambled to stand, and Jack held her down. "Lucy, mind yourself. If Miss Pamela wants to kiss you, it seems to me you should let her do so." Pamela, being too stirred to and drunk to think about the impropriety of her actions, knelt on the floor in front of Lucy. Bending forward, she tenderly kissed Lucy's breast, imploring her to stay. She said, "Lucy, please don't leave. I adore how this feels, being with you like this." Pamela felt Jack's hand on her arse, pulling it at her skirt. She could hardly believe it when he said, "Lucy, wouldn't you fancy watching Pamela spin?" Lucy took a deep breath. "Miss, he means it. If you don't want him to touch you, you best be telling him to sod off." Pamela didn't respond. Instead, she leaned against Lucy, their breasts pressing together, wrapping her arms around Lucy's neck. She kissed her again. This time, Lucy did not resist. She returned the kiss. Pamela lost herself in kissing and pushed her tongue in Lucy's mouth. Jack lifted Pamela's skirt and petticoat. Pamela opened her legs wider so Jack could wedge his hands between her legs. "Play with my boobies, Lucy. I'll tickle your clit." Lucy grabbed one of Pamela's dangling breasts and pinched her nipple. Pamela moaned. She felt Jack for the opening of her knickers. Immediately upon finding it, he pushed his hand inside and tickled her vulva with his fingertips. Pamela pressed down on his hand. "Lucy, Miss Pamela wants it bad." Lucy pinched her nipples again. She breathed her question into Pamela's mouth. Do you want Jack to rub you?" "Merciful heavens, yes, Lucy, I do." "Do you want him to paddle your bottom first?" "Oh, yes, Lucy." Miss Pamela likes to be walloped. She wants you to slap her bum." "Well, now, that's a fact." Jack gestured to Lucy to have Pamela bend over the back of the sofa. "Miss, Jack is willing. If you kneel over the back of the sofa." Pamela crawled onto the sofa, kneeling on the cushion. She leaned over the back with her arse up in the air, her titties dangling heavily from her chest. Jack tucked her skirt into the waist of her dress. "Lucy, take off your drawers." Before pulling them down, Lucy asked, "Miss, is it all right if you are bare?" Pamela's bare clitoris throbbed between her legs. "It is quite all right, Lucy. It excites me." Lucy peeled Pamela's knickers down her leg and pulled them off. Pamela opened her legs wide in anticipation of the spanking. Jack opened her trousers, exposing his rock hard cock. Pulling off his belt, he instructed Lucy, "Go around and kiss her. She'll like that." You ain't going to screw her, Jack. The governor will take care of that bit of business. I'm going to fuck you, my fuckable bit of stuff. Miss Pamela can watch if she has a taste for it. You feckin' booger. You're as ornery as a tomcat. With what I walked in on, I have the right to be. Jack folded his belt and brought it down across Pamela's arse. Pamela groaned. Lucy, now in a state herself, chastised him as she went around in front of Pamela. Don't you have to be leaving no marks that Mister will see. I'll be easy on her. He smacked her again. Lucy retrieved the chair and sat in front of Pamela. Are you all right, miss? Pamela nodded. Would you like me to kiss you and pinch your boobies? Pamela whispered, yes, just as Jack whacked her again. The sting shot through her and she lurched forward. Jack, Lucy snapped. You said you'd be easy on her. I am. Ain't it obvious she waiting on this? Pamela managed to say, he's right, Lucy. I'm on fire. Kiss me. Lucy did kiss her, sweeping the inside of Pamela's mouth with her tongue. Each time Jack brought the belt down on her bum. The scorching heat between her legs grew hotter. Lucy twisted her nipples between her thumbs and forefingers, drawing heat into her chest. Gasping for air, Pamela pulled her mouth away from Lucy's. Lucy, I want to watch Jack fuck you. Are you willing? Oh, yes, miss. I would fancy a good poke right now. Let's switch places. Lucy scurried around the sofa. Jack brought the belt down on Pamela's arse one more time before helping her stand. Pam wobbled. Miss, can you manage? Jack held her arm as Lucy took her drawers off and knelt on the sofa where Pamela had been. She pulled up her skirt and opened her legs wide, as Pamela had done. I'm quite all right, Jack, but I do need to spend. Jack grinning. I'll be happy to oblige, miss. Jack be hitting everybody. I'm sure you would. I can manage myself while you take care of Lucy. Certainly, miss. Pamela went around to the back of the sofa and sat in the chair, knowing that both Lucy and Jack could hear her plainly. She pulled her skirt up and slipped her fingers between her slick coochie. Unexpectedly, Jack cracked the belt against Lucy's arse. Loosen up, my sweet biscuit. He slapped her again. Open your arse for me, like you have done before. I'm going to have me a bit of bum. Good Lord, Jack, you're not. Jack cracked her again. Oh, yes, Lucy, I am. Tight. Your tight arsehole is begging for some cock. Pamela saw him watching her frig herself. She pressed her stinging bum against the seat of the chair and propped her feet on the back of the sofa with her legs spread wide for both Lucy and Jack to see. She pushed her fingers into her cunt. You see, Lucy, Miss Pamela wants to see me give it to you. Up your arse. He tossed the belt onto the sofa. He cupped he cupped her vulva in her hand. Your pussy is so freaking wet. You got plenty of grease up your arse. With his fingers, he coated Lucy's moistures. He shoved 3 fingers in her arse. Relax, Lucy. You know it hurts if you tighten up. Pamela diddled her clit, anticipating the sodomy. Lucy's titties jiggled as Jack fingered her arsehole. Lucy closed her eyes and moaned. Withdrawing his fingers, Jack slapped Lucy's arse several more times, kneading her bum between each slap. Cupping his hand under her cunt again, he took her wet to slick up his cock. Positioning himself behind Lucy, he pointed the tip of his prick against her anus. When the tip of his cock entered her arse, Lucy groaned loudly. Pamela fingered herself, watching Jack slide his prick in Lucy's bum. When he had his cock buried deeply into her rectum, she reached around and grabbed her breast. I'm going to fuck you, Miss Pamela, until Miss Pamela spins. You best be watching her. Frig herself real close now. Maybe you'll have yours when she does. Lucy focused her eyes on Pamela's cunt while Jack rammed his prick into her. The scalding heat in Pamela's belly could barely be contained as she watched Lucy being fucked. Jack showed no mercy as he forcefully boogered her. Lucy pushed her bum back each time Jack rammed his prick into her. Delirious with arousal, Lucy climaxed. She squealed and dug her fingers into the back of the sofa, her body trembling uncontrollably. Seeing Lucy in the throes of her ecstasy triggered Pamela's release. She jabbed her fingers deep into her cunt and lifted her booty up off the chair. She moaned softly as her pelvis thrust upward as waves of pleasures washed through her body. She opened her legs wide for Jack to see. Lucy had gone limp over the back of the chair. Jack continued to pound himself into her while staring at Pamela's cunt. When he emptied himself into Lucy, he shouted, "Cunting hell, yes," and banged his prick into her one more time. Pamela drifted back into reality and lowered her legs. Jack still had Lucy pinned over the back of the sofa, his cock buried in her. Lucy had her eyes closed. "Lucy?" Pamela stroked her breast. "Are you still there?" Lucy sighed. "Oh my God, yes, Miss Pamela, I'm here." Pamela smiled. "Good." Leaning forward, she kissed Lucy's lips. A gentle kiss meant for a lover. "Lucy, thank you for sharing with me." "Miss Pamela, I have never been so satisfied." Lucy winced as Jack pulled himself out of her. "Now you know one of the ways we use not to conceive." "I'll have Jack," suggested to Peter. Jack cleaned himself up with his handkerchief. "I hope you keep us employed." "I wouldn't be telling him where you got this idea." Pamela laughed. "Not to worry, it's our secret." Lord, Lord, Lord. Within the misty haze of the rum and arousal, Pamela thought she heard the parlor's door's hinge squeak. Not wanting to break the spell of Lucy suckling her, She dismissed it as her imagination. When she heard the door click shut a few moments later, she bolted upright, nearly knocking Lucy to the floor. Peter, Peter stood just inside the closed parlor door with his arm crossed over his chest. "Hello, Pamela." Nodding at Lucy, he simply said, "Lucy." Lucy tried to put her arms back into the sleeves of her dress, only to find they were turned inside out. She struggled to untangle them. Pamela continued to stare at him with disbelief. "You are supposed to be in court all day. What are you doing here?" "Even though I do not owe you an explanation for entering my own house, I will explain. My scheduled session in court was canceled due to the illness of a key member of the hearing. Rather than going back to the chambers, I came home to help with the Christmas tree. Where is Jack? I expect off doing the list of errands you gave him." I flagged a hansom cab to bring me back. Lucy, being too flustered to fix her dress, she held the bib of her apron to her chest, only partially covering her bare breast, her voice quivering with fright. She asked Pamela, "Miss, may I please be excused?" Before Pamela could answer, Peter replied, "No, Lucy, you may not be excused. Not making any attempt to cover yourself." Pamela snapped at him. "Peter, don't you dare frighten the poor girl. This is all my doing." Peter strode across the room, his bearing even more intimidating than usual. His voice had an edge when he spoke. "Pamela, I have no doubt whatsoever that this is the case." Turning to Lucy, he softened his tone. "Lucy, I am not angry with you. As long as you cooperate, you are in no danger of being sacked." Blinking back tears, Lucy muttered, "Sir, Peter, let her go. Do what you would with me. The responsibility is mine. Lucy is not at fault." "Hush, Pamela. Mind yourself quiet. I'm speaking to Lucy." "How dare you take that tone with me?" Pamela stood up to leave, furious with his cavalier dismissal. Pulling her dress up to cover herself, she took several steps toward the door. "Pamela!" The sharpness in Peter's voice caused her to stop mid-step. "If you wish for Lucy to stay our employee, you will come back here and sit down." Lucy whimpered, "Miss Pamela, please." Pamela came back to the sofa, glaring at Peter. "I've never known you to be so cruel. Let her go." "I'm not of a mind to be cruel, but I do believe the two of you have some penance to do in order for this to be forgotten." Pamela lowered herself to the sofa beside Lucy, allowing her dress to once again fall to her waist. Put her arm around Lucy's shoulder. "What are you talking about?" Peter hunkered down in front of Lucy, taking her chin between his thumb and forefinger. He lifted her head. "Lucy, look at me," brushing the tears from her cheek. She looked at Peter. "Yes, sir." "Lucy, when I came in, you seemed to be enjoying Miss Pamela. Is that correct?" Lucy whispered, "Yes, sir." Peter let his hand fall from her chin to her apron. He tugged it away from her hand, and it fell to her waist. Her bare breast hung deliciously close to his face. "Would you like to enjoy her some more?" Pamela hugged Lucy closer. Peter, what are you doing? Peter answered with cool control, only what you seem to want. He turned back to Lucy. It would be exceptionally satisfying to watch you and Pamela together. Would you do that for me, Lucy? Lord have mercy. The whole house is filled with sin, Lord. Lucy glanced at Pamela, not knowing how to respond. Peter looked at Pamela, their eyes in vaporous heat. An unspoken understanding passed between them. Lucy, Pamela spoke softly, her seductive voice. If we do what he asks, I promise this whole embarrassment will be forgotten. Peter tell her. Peter smiled, knowing he had Pamela's acquaintances. Lucy, Miss Pamela speaks the truth. All you need to do is what I ask of you. And what has happened will not leave this room. You won't tell Jack. I promise I won't tell him. Will you do it? What do you want me to do? Nothing more than you are already doing. It was quite tantalizing. Pamela took Lucy's hand and placed it on her breast. Lucy, Master Renner wants to see us together. Entertaining him would be quite exciting, don't you think? Lucy moved her head closer to Pamela's. And barely a whisper, she said, Yes, miss, it stirs me. It does. Pamela's lip brushed Lucy's. She whispered back, As it does me. Let's give Master Renner an early Christmas present. Yes, miss. Lucy breathed the words into Pamela's mouth with their lips. As Lucy and Pamela kissed, Peter sat in an overstuffed armchair facing the sofa. He settled in knowing his afternoon's entertainment would be much more pleasant than he had ever imagined. Lucy caressed Pamela's breast. Pleasure ripped through his groin. Pamela moaned. It seemed Pamela's carnal hunger grew more voracious with each passing day as her appetites rivaling his. Her seduction of Lucy, albeit unexpected, did not surprise him. He sat quietly for several minutes, letting the passion build. As Lucy leaned over to suckle, he stopped her. Lucy, help Miss Pamela remove her dress. Then she will help you remove yours. Yes, sir. Lucy's face flamed red, but she immediately set to the task. She unbuttoned the last few buttons and tugged the dress from the bottom. Pamela lifted her bum so Lucy could pull off the dress and petticoat, leaving her in only her stockings and drawers. With no hesitation, Pamela turned around to undo Lucy's apron string. Can y'all hear me okay? Because I'm sitting back. Am I too far away from the mic or am I okay? Put a 1 in the chat if I'm not too far away from the mic. With no hesitation, Pamela turned Lucy around to undo her apron. Lucy stood and faced Peter, practically touching his knees. Pamela stood behind her. She stroked herself, watching Lucy's breasts rise and fall with, with her breath as Pamela took off her dress. Pamela, put your hand inside Lucy's knicker and stroke her. Pamela caressed Lucy's belly. Is that all right, Miss Lucy? May I touch your private parts? Lucy didn't answer. Instead, she put her hand over Pamela's and guided it to the waistband of her drawers. Together, their hands disappeared inside. Lucy leaned back against Pamela's side. Peter, watching the rhythmic caresses inside Lucy's knickers, felt his cock twitch inside his trousers. He noticed Pamela staring at his crotch. He watched while unadulterating against Pamela in the most provocative rhythm dance. Silently, Peter gestured to Pamela to pull down Lucy's knickers. With her free hand, Pamela tugged the already loosened drawstring. Lucy started. Pamela kissed her shoulder. Master Renner wants to see you, Lucy. You are quite lovely. Lucy blushed so furiously, even her chest turned pink. She saw Peter stroking himself, watching her. With wanton abandon, she undid the string herself, allowing her drawers to fall to the floor. She kicked them off. Now yours, Pamela. I want you both bare. Peter's usually smooth voice sounded throaty and low-pitched, his arousal evident. He could smell their female musk. He reached out and traced a vertical line to the length of Lucy's vulva. Pamela spread her open, cradling his pelvis against Lucy's bare bum. Pamela reached around and pressed her fingertips into Lucy's swollen lips. She opened her labia, revealing the rosebud to Peter. He gently diddled her clitoris with his finger, carefully examining the pink flesh. Lucy moaned, pressed backwards into Pamela. Lucy, I want to help you now. She didn't respond to him. She continued to lean against Pamela, her legs splayed indecently. Lucy, his sharp tone sober. Yes, Master Renner. She closed her legs and attempted to stand straight. I beg your pardon, sir. I didn't hear what you said. I need your help now, sir. He reached around Lucy and took Pamela's hand. It is time for Miss Pamela to receive her comeuppance. Would you help me? Again, Lucy looked at Pamela for permission. Lucy, we are here to please Master Renner. If he requires your assistance, then he shall have it. Pamela stepped around and knelt in front of Peter. Lucy, behind the picture frame on the piano, you will find something. I put it there. Please get it for me and give it to Mister. Completely forgetting that she had nothing on, Lucy quietly went to the piano. She found the hairbrush and the sheet behind the picture. She brought them back and gave them to Peter. She then stepped off to the side and waited. Now, why on earth would you have these in the parlor? I hope to have them for Christmas Eve, but perhaps they will be useful now. Pamela, you are a constant source of amazement. It is courtesan bundled up in a beautiful package. He handed the hairbrush back to Lucy. Lucy, you are in charge of the paddling. Lucy took the brush. Pardon me, sir. I don't understand what you are asking me for. As Peter took off his jacket, a waistcoat, he explained, "You see, Lucy, Miss Pamela has been quite wicked, taking advantage of you as she has." He opened his shirt. She must suffer the consequences of her actions. It seems only fitting that it be your hand. Pamela, I want you to kiss my prick while Lucy spanks you. Lord. Peter is a super freak. You will show me how sorry you are for seducing Lucy and compromising her position in our household. Pamela scratched her fingernails down his chest to his groin. Peter stifled a groan, his prick throbbing at her touch. She whispered softly, "Your organ is quite thick and terribly purple. I will do more than kiss it, if you wish." Peter ignored her flirtatious invitation. "Lucy, please give Pamela 10 strokes with the brush, then frig her with the brush handle." Merciful heavens! Lucy could not contain her astonishment. Peter fondled Pamela's breast while he spoke. "Miss Lucy, Pamela welcomes the punishment of her outrageous behavior. Don't you, Pamela?" Pamela answered with bending down and kissing his erection. Peter relaxed into the chair, Pamela's breast filling his hand. "Lucy, I'm waiting to do it." With some hesitation, Lucy lightly brought the brush down on Pamela's arse. Peter barked, "For God's sake, Lucy, you are a strong girl. Put some force in it." Peter just messed up the whole thing. Lucy took a deep breath and brought the brush down again. This time the sting made Pamela yelp. "That's better. Now give Pamela time to kiss my prick before the next stroke." By the 6th stroke, Pamela moans filled the room. By the 9th stroke, her legs opened and her ass jutted upward, wanting his prick inside of her. The 10th stroke landed. Her now pink undulated against his knees. In a hoarse whisper, Peter said, "Now frig her." Lucy turned the brush around, the round handle warm and slick from her sweaty hand, positioning it at the end of Pamela's cunt. Lucy slid the handle inside. Pamela pushed backwards and groaned. Again, Lord, kissing Peter's cock. I don't know if I could finish this book. This might be too much for me. Pamela pushed backwards and groaned. Kissing again, she pleaded with him, "Please, I want you inside of me." "Peter, put your cock inside of me, not the brush." "Not yet, dear Pams." Lucy continued to slowly push the handle of the brush in and out of Pamela. Pamela pressed her face against Peter's cock and again begged him, "Peter, fuck me before I go mad." "She is ready, Lucy." "Oh, my soul, yes." Master Renner, her wet is all over the brush handle. Peter slid out from under Pamela without regard to Lucy's presence. He took off the rest of his clothes. Pamela remained bent over on the chair while putting on his sheath. He instructed Lucy, "I want you to touch my balls while I fuck Pamela." Oh, that made me choke. Whew. Yes, sir. Oh, and Lucy. Yes, sir. Touch up yourself at the same time. Perhaps you will spin with Pamela. I would fancy that, sir. As would I, Lucy. Peter knelt behind Pamela. The moment the tip of his prick touched her, she pushed back on him, shoving his full length inside of her. The sensation caused them both to make a guttural sound, which resonated through the parlor. Lucy chose that moment to cup his balls in her hand, sending more flames through his groin. As Lucy massaged his scrotum, he pounded his prick deep into Pamela's cunt. She twisted and writhed against him, her own passion on the verge of climax. Determined to hold on until Pamela's finished, Peter hissed at Lucy. Touch up Pamela, Lucy. Rub her hard. Lucy reached between Pamela's leg and rubbed her clitoris. As Peter rammed himself deeply into her, Pamela squealed, "My God, Peter!" Peter held her, his weight preventing her from rising up. She thrashed underneath him, her climax upon him. Lucy moved to the side of the chair. Peter saw her hand working furiously between her legs. Suddenly she gasped and thrust her pelvis. She struggled for breath, trembling with her organ. With both of them in the throes of spending, Peter allowed his own fire to move. Slamming against Pamela's arse filled the sheet. As the menage a trois subsided. Menage a trois. He heard Pamela say quietly to him, "Happy Christmas, darling, Peter." All right, that's the end of chapter 16. That's enough for today. This is too much. How many more chapters we got to go through? Is anybody there? Or did y'all all leave the chat? Mike Love, you still there? Jay Tillman, G Honda, Derek Gaines, Go Cree. Any of y'all there? Hello? Hello, are you there? Are you there, good people? Queen, hey Queen. Girl, I think I had enough of this for today. We have to read chapter 17. We'll maybe read it tonight. Did you hear that? Queen of Vibes. Did you hear them? Peter and them got it going on, child. That was one part almost choked me. Derek, they doing too much. That's a whole, they got a whole brothel going on in the big house. Nah, I'm gonna have to watch the replay. Yeah, it's a long time. I think it was 2 hours. They ain't all over the place. They all in the house. Everybody in the house getting it but me. That did you, Derek? Was you listening from the beginning? Cause it's the that little girl, Pamela. Pamela, a super freak, and so is Peter. But Pamela was reading books, and then she admitted that she was messing with the girls. They were, when she was in college, they were experimenting with what was in the book, in the journals that she was reading. And I think it was Charles' sister that was actually writing the journals. to see how many more chapters I got. This book is explicit. You think it was Charles? Oh, you was here from the beginning. Okay. Yeah, Peter was thinking she was all innocent. And she just got through. Derek, she had just messed with Jack. Remember her, Jack, and Lucy was just messing around? That little girl's a nympho. Yeah, I gotta get some drops. I have to add some drops and some more stuff to make it like more interesting. But it's I don't know that guy, what his name is. He was in the chat, but I wrote his book down for me to order. I think I'm gonna read his book next in the daytime. But he be in the chat. Y'all know who I'm talking about? He's in the chat and he wrote a book. I hope I wrote it in my notes. Let me see. Let me see. Let me check my notes. I have to figure out how to give some of y'all wrenches. Let me see. What's his? Let me see if I have it in these notes. Michael Moore. What was the name of the book? I'm looking at my Derek, what was the name of the book? Let me look at my notes. Okay. Hold on, Derek. Let me look in these notes and see if it's in my iPhone notes. I hope I wrote it, because no, I didn't write it in my notes. Let me look at Amazon. I'm gonna do a poll and see. I don't think the book was in Amazon. I think it was Barnes and Noble. Damn. I'm mad. I thought I wrote that book in my notes. Let me see. I wonder if let me see if I text it to myself. What's his name? Mark Harris. He is in Coop. What was the name? What was the name of it? I thought his name was Mark Harris. What was the name of the book, Derek? So I need to go back and look at her chat, but I have to do it on the computer so I can see the chat. But thank y'all. I appreciate y'all. I don't have the book. I have is, but what's the name of the book? It was something about black women and men. You remember what the name of it was? I'm gonna go back and look and go quickly chat, cause I couldn't get the book on when I put it into Amazon. It wouldn't come in. I'm gonna go ahead and close my book. And thank y'all very much. I really appreciate everybody who participated, even if you look was watching from the clouds. Please don't forget to share. I think we only got a few more chapters in this book, so I'm gonna finish it. I might read later on tonight. It's according to how many people live or whatever. And I shall see y'all. We shall meet again, I guess, in someone else's chat. Have a wonderful evening, everyone, and a safe weekend. Hello.
Hey, is this Miss Amara?
Yes, this is she.
Hey, this is Alexis at Premier Pain Solutions. How are you?
I'm okay.
That's good to hear.